Hi there everyone, and welcome to this first Mindset Monday. Hope you are well. So this is a new series that I'm going to try over the summer. So every other video or so is going to be focused on a mindset issue that you may be facing in your creative journey. Hence the name Mindset Mondays. So they're going to be slightly shorter videos, I think. We'll see if I manage to stick to that. And we're going to talk about a specific mindset issue. So today we're going to talk about releasing old stories that you may be telling yourself that is holding you back in your creative life. So let's make a cup of tea, cozy up, and get right into it. We're all carrying around different stories about who we are, and some of those stories are not so very helpful. Some of those stories are telling us what we can't be and what we aren't, and they can hold us back from doing things that we want to do. So in my early to mid 20s, I had this story that I wasn't a particularly creative person. And this was a story that came from someone close to me having told me that they didn't think that I was particularly creative, and me internalizing this story and also confusing creativity a little bit with originality. So I thought that, okay, if I didn't have any odd, weird, revolutionary ideas, that meant that I wasn't creative. So that was the story I was telling myself, and that story was holding me back from doing creative projects. It was holding me back from giving my first novel that I was trying to write back then, even though I didn't think it was particularly creative. It was holding me back from giving it the energy and love that it needed, and it was also making me feel like I wasn't good enough to write that novel. So that was the story that I was carrying around, and I think you'll agree with me that it wasn't a true story. It was a story that I had heard and I had internalized, and it was just something that I believed at that point, and it wasn't true. So that is what stories do. They shape our worldview, they shape who we think we are, and they shape what we do, and we act accordingly. So if we have two stories, either you believe that you are creative or you believe you aren't creative, then you're going to act differently depending on what it is you believe. So this is why stories that are negative, that is telling us what we can't do, can affect us so much and affect our life choices. It can affect us in our creative projects, and this is something that can be really, really important and really also life-changing to deal with. So eventually I did sort of come around and realize that, okay, maybe I wasn't the most original person on the planet, but I had some creativity in me, and also I really wanted to be a creative. I wanted to do creative things, and that is also a big part of being creative. It's not just that you have a talent for something, it's a choice to be creative. So this is something I often talk about with my coaching clients as well. So they might have a story that they're holding on to that comes from somewhere, and that story is holding them back in their creative journey. So for example, it might be that they're an introvert, so that means that they can't do marketing well. That might be a story they're telling themselves. Or they might say that I'm bad at designing, for example, because they had been bad at drawing when they were kids. So these stories can hold us back from trying to do things. They can make us feel like we aren't supposed to do something that we actually do want to do. And it can also just mess up our process, making us feel like we're not good enough to do something that we want to do. So if you have one of these stories that is holding you back, what do we do with it? Do we just wait until it goes away, or what do we do? So I think we best deal with this in 3 steps: identify, challenge, and replace. So the first step is just to identify that there is a story there, because that's usually the first step we have to take. So when I believed that I wasn't creative, I just thought it was a fact, a personality trait. I wasn't very creative. And I didn't see that it was a story that I was telling myself. So if there's something that you feel that is beyond what you can do in your creative life, what is available for you, what is possible for you, look at it less as a truth and more as a story, because that's what it is. We all have, all our worldviews, all our sort of marks of identity are essentially stories. So look at what it is that is holding you back and see the story within it. And ask yourself, where did it come from? Why do I have this story? Has this story been protecting me from something, for example? If, for example, you were bad at something at school, then instead of challenging yourself and trying to learning something and doing something when you're bad at it is challenging, and it is something that forces you to grow. And it might be easier for us to just say, I'm bad at it, I'm just inherently bad at something and I won't even try it, because trying will put me up on the risk of failure, and that is a risk that we usually want to avoid. So start by identifying what is the story that you're telling yourself. And then when you know what the story is, it's time to challenge it. So ask, what is the proof here that this story is true? Usually we have something that we say is a proof. For me, it was someone telling me that I wasn't creative. It was that I didn't have the most original ideas, for example. Those were my proof. So usually there is something that we think is a proof, but usually they aren't really a proof. So look at what proof you have and try to challenge that proof. Try to see other options that might also be true. So, for example, maybe originality isn't the only aspect of creativity. Maybe it's one flavor of creativity, but there are other flavors of creativity as well. And maybe someone else telling me that I am creative is more right than a person telling me I'm not creative. So look at what signs there is that the opposite is possible. The opposite might be true. And if there's something that you feel, well, I am actually quite bad at this particular thing, well, okay, maybe that's true. But is there a possibility that you could grow? Is there a possibility that you can learn this and have other people who have come before you learn something that they didn't know when they started out? So taking, for example, a very concrete creative skill like drawing, for example. You might be bad at drawing. I have been pretty bad at drawing, especially as a kid. But usually we are bad at everything before we learn the skills. So it might just be that, yes, you're not great at something yet, but you can learn it. And that is a different kind of story. And then we come to the last part of it, and that is to find a new story. Replace the old story with something new. And it might be a big leap to take from, okay, I am not creative, over to I'm super creative. We might need a bridge story, something in the middle that is, okay, I might be creative, or I might have creative traits. Or if you're an introvert who thinks that marketing and selling is so beyond the things that you can do, maybe the new story is, I might be able to learn selling and marketing. Just try to find a story that you can replace the old story with, that opens up the possibilities a bit more, that shows that the doors aren't closed to you. You can change, you can grow, and everything might be possible for you. Old stories that are holding us back in our creative journeys can be very much self-fulfilling prophecies. If we believe we're bad at something, we're not even going to try it. We're not going to try to grow and learn things about it, and then we are going to be bad at it. So this is something that I often come back to with my coaching clients, helping them change these stories and have them become something more empowering and opening up the possibilities for you, and to see when these stories are not helping you, when they are something that you may need to let go of if you want to continue onward in your creative journey. Over the summer, I am running a coaching special, which I call the Summer Retreat. So this is if you are doing creative coaching with me over the summer, you're also invited to a series of workshops that are designed to tap into what I believe to be the magic of summer, when we have a little bit more spaciousness and a little bit more ease, and in that space that is created during summer, a lot of good things can happen. So the first of these workshops is about this particular topic, releasing old stories. And I am so much looking forward to that workshop. I think it's going to be so good and so impactful for all of us involved. So if you are interested in learning more about the summer retreat and maybe joining us, I'll leave the link down below. And I hope you enjoyed this first Mindset Monday. Let me know below if there is an old story that you have been telling yourself about your creative life, about what is possible for you, about what you can do. Let me know down below, and also what might be a different kind of story. Or let me tell you what a different kind of story could be for you. So give this video a little like if you enjoyed it. If you're new here, hello and welcome. You can subscribe down below, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!